Hey guys, Greg here, Underground Graphics. Today is going to be a busy day. We've had our Bronco Sport now for a little over 2 weeks, and maybe 3. Anyway, we've been hard at work. We've got a couple kits that have gone out, some teaser photos of our retro panels. We did a video of that earlier in the week, and now we've got, I don't even know, probably 16, 17 kits that we're going to put on today. I said we were going to come out strong with the Bronco Sport, and we're definitely going to do that for you today. It's going to be a mix of a lot of kits, so we're going to do our best to kind of chop up this video so you've got installed videos for each of those kits. Basically what we're going to be looking at is our most popular for the full size. We've got those 3 bars, the 5 bars, all the variations thereof for each, as well as colors for each. We've also got the first high, I believe the version 1, the version 2, a single color as well as a 2 color. We're going to accent that orange with that Badlands logo. And as well, we've got the Heritage stripe, which has been very popular for the full-size Bronco. And we're going to do our version of we'll call the Freedom, which is going to be that 5-bar color going down the side. As well, we're going to have that in colors as well, the grays, the blues, and I think we got a brown cut as well. I know in the back we've got our full size. Not sure if we've talked about that, but we did pick up another full size Bronco. Also in white. We've got those bronze wheels back on that for the time being to show you what that brown looks like on there. Again, the bronze and the brown have been great accents for those bronze wheels. It looks amazing on white, cactus, and a few of the other colors, black as well. So we've got a lot going on today. I want to give a special shout out, thank you to 1552 and Cobb Tuning as well for being a part of this project with us. Happy to have them along for the ride. Love those wheels. I think it gives us kind of like a rally heritage look to it. Still waiting for some more goodies to come onto this, but I think we're going to love this little vehicle. Anyway, let's get started, and I'm going to show you kind of some of these tools, what we're going to be using. I will say up front with the thin lines that come here along the top, it took us quite a while to get that straight. We're going to follow about 1/8 of an inch above this hood line. I got a measurement for you here, and then it's going to continue on here. We got a measurement for you for the handles, a measurement for you here at center from the trim down. Again, I'll get those measurements once we get to that part. And then again, measure here, and that's going to continue to match up here, and just have to eyeball that straight, basically along that top seam back here to that stripe. There is a lot of curve on this vehicle, so you do have to measure. Be very careful when we hit these 2 panels here. We were having the issues really on this back door, so again, we're going to go in it on each install. Measure before you apply this. Again, our kits are wrap material. They are not wet installs. It's dry only. We've had some people talk about doing these wet. It's been done. It's not recommended by the manufacturer, although it can be done. Again, we do not recommend it. So you do want to make sure it is in place and where that is supposed to be. We also offer IPC on a lot of these kits. There's a few of them that do not have it, but IPC is that Install Protection Care. If you make a mistake, and again, it's just a mistake, one stripe goes on crooked, so if you do mess up that back door, all we ask is that you follow our procedures, the directions on how to claim that. We want to see pictures, don't just rip it off. We want to know what happened. Let us take a photo, explain what happened, and we will get you a new piece out with, we just ask for shipping. Anyway, like I said, let's look over here at these tools. Masking tape, you're going to need lots of masking tape. You are going to need to measure, so get yourself a tape measure, maybe a ruler. We're going to use this plastic razor to get that Badlands badge off when we get to that 5-bar or that side piece, the side panels. This is the squeegee that's going to be provided with that kit. They're fantastic for short-term use. I wouldn't use this all the time here at our shop, but again, to do a kit, it's going to be fantastic. Probably last you several kits. With this, there is no soft edge on that. These are the squeegees we use here at the shop. These are kind of pricey, so we don't include those with the kit, but we will provide this. And then we have new pieces of tools that are on the site. This is called a monkey strip, and we do use these here inside at our shop as well. 3M squeegees, they're fantastic. They will last you forever. So if you want to pick up one of these, we got those, and if you want to put that strip on there, it's just to peel off the back, lay it flat, peel it over, and then you've got that on there. So then you can put this on here. You can do whatever you want to do with those tools, and of course a blade. We like to use these breakaway blades. Again, a little higher end than what you can get on the site, but we do have some craft knives on the site if you need those. So obviously a little bit of those tools, pair of scissors, and then we always talk about that alcohol water mix. We like to use a 10% alcohol solution with 90% water in a 16-ounce bottle. That's going to be the mix for that. We should have those on the site soon as well. We're just going to get some pre-mixed stuff for you. If you don't want to mess with that, we'll have it for you, but not hard to find that in the house. So anyway, let's pause. We're going to get set up and we'll get going on our first kit. We're going to go ahead and start with our 5-bar. We're calling this the Freedom Kit, which is basically our version of that 5-bar down the side that's become very popular. So we got a hood for this, and we've got those panels all the way on the side. We're just going to do one side for you today because we're going to be doing several kits. So to get started, again, masking tape, lots and lots of masking tape. We're going to go ahead. We have already wiped this down with that alcohol water mix, 10% alcohol, although I do see some stuff on there, so I'm going to come right back. Alcohol water mix, 10% alcohol, 90% water in a 16-ounce bottle. You are going to want a clean microfiber. We just had a hood graphic on here, so I just want to make sure there's no adhesive left over. That hood, all of these have been test fitted. Rory, our designer, did a great job on all these kits. Now, I would not recommend this for you at home, but I'm going to go ahead and just eyeball this in place up here at the top of the hood. I'm not sure if this is on all the models, but we got that little mark right there in the center of the glass, which I just did this, so I know this is center. And then this is going to come down and follow that natural line of the crease at the very top of the hood. You can go to the back and roll the back edge. We do not like to do that. I do like to keep that where there's a little bit of paint showing there on that edge. Once we get that where we kind of think that's center, or you think you've got center, come back and tape and measure. So a little piece of tape there. And if you need a stool or something, a little step ladder is great for getting over the hood, especially on those big Broncos. Again, this is where it gets tricky because there's really no defined lines on this. We're in our garage, which reminds me too of working indoors with this. You do not want to do this outside in the heat, but you really do want to find a point on there that you can measure to. It looks like I'm right about at 4 inches. I'm going to come over here and do the same thing on this side and just kind of check and see where, and I'm obviously already way off, so I'm glad we measured that. You can also come off the center of the hood, so I can see this thing already turning right. We can come up from there, make a mark. Let's go ahead and do that. And there's all kinds of different tricks to do this. Again, this is the first time I've installed this kit, so you're kind of seeing how I'm going to do this. And again, if you don't have an eye for this, take this to a professional. We've done this, these types of kits several times. And I know that front looks still a little bit to the right up there. Now I'm going to mark that center. At least get really close. We even have a laser that we can use for measuring. So not sure where I left off on that hood, but I did want to go back and make sure we got this right to tell you how to get it right. This is a tricky hood. Again, there's no seam down the hood to measure from. This does go all the way over to that fender. I used just eyeballed center from the grill, from the camera, from the piece that's centered in the grill. Same thing from the top for that looks like a sensor up there on the dash. That gives us a basis to start, but we are going to have to confirm our fitment to make sure this is not off. I was off just trying to eyeball it a little bit, and again, there's no defined line to really get a good measurement from. So went ahead, got it taped where I thought was center, and then just made some adjustments therefrom. We're looking at, I believe it was 26 1/4. Now I'm going to take this ruler and come right over to the front edge of this hood, right where this, right just past where this becomes straight. So really just want to get right there. If you use a tape measure, just be careful because it is metal. So I'm going to kind of rest that on that nostril. And I'm about 26 1/4 on that to that edge. And I'm going to come back and check this edge again. And I hope that didn't shift because I should have had this right. And there I am again, 26 1/4. That's on the back. On the front up here, try to avoid bringing that tape measure over that hood. I'm just going to go corner to corner on this one. So again, tape measure right from the edge of that color, edge of that paper, right to the corner of that hood, 25 1/4, and it should be the same on that corner as well, on the passenger corner. 25 1/4. I'm good with that. Again, that's a big hood. That's a small graphic for that hood. So where that's taped, I've got it taped bottom, taped top. We're gonna hinge this the other direction. So now that we have it where we want it, we're gonna go in and do we're gonna apply this one top and bottom. Now again, I think I mentioned that we didn't name this until I just started this video. We'll call this the Freedom Kit. We've got this in red, we have it in blue, and we have it in black, and I think we're going to do shades of brown. I'm not sure on that one yet. We're going to go ahead and keep this hood on here throughout, but we've done the front fender in those multiple colors, and then of course a full side in the red. Red seems to be the popular choice. Works great on most colors. Again, we did this on our Cactus Bronco, and it was great on it. You know, it was great. It works. It really does work well on everything. Even that cyber orange. For those of you with the cyber orange, that's awesome. These look fantastic on that. Go ahead and get that. That's just, again, just grease pencil if you want to use a grease pencil. So, and again, if you've got a step by any means, step stool, we've got this shop step that we like to use. Again, there's not a lot of room on this hood to really step and be careful, so you just want to be careful you're not scratching anything on that hood. I'm going to put my hands up on that edge of that nostril so we don't dent anything. And again, we did just wipe this, and this is right in the middle, so it is kind of hard to do this from the sides, but you can do this on the sides as well. And there's no lift on here, so it's not too bad. And again, we talked about that doing this indoors, doing it in the right temperature. Low 70s is ideal. You do not want to do this outside. We do have our air on in here, so you have to be careful with that. You're not getting any dust coming in under that. Once that's set, I have a habit of using that soft edge. I like that, so when it comes over onto the paint, I don't get any scratches on that paint. But you can use that. And just work your overlapping strokes. Work that down. Come back and do that bottom half. And again, this is just called a simple hinge method. These are pretty simple shapes. And this will stretch if you pull it. So you don't want to pull heavy on it, but you do want to keep it kind of taut. And again, those overlapping strokes. Now this vinyl that you're going to be getting is premium cast printable vinyl. So this is professional. Commercial industry is what we're using for all of our commercial wraps. Hit that mark perfect. So unlike our 2080 line or some of the other wrap films, we can't just lay it and work out the air. This does have to apply front to back. You don't want that to sit, and then if it does, you do want to pop that back up, pull that back down, and kind of work that down, you know, front to back or side to side. Now that we've got that one on there, I'm going to go ahead and pull from top down. And then getting these corners up is always a pain because we cut that film so tight to that edge. There we go. And this, you do want to come at this at 180 degrees. If you've watched our videos before, you know exactly what we're talking about. You don't want to pull up. You just want to pull against the vinyl. And I'm so OCD worried about fingerprints and everything, but and pull slow. So we got a couple spots in there. We'll get out. I'm going to take that soft edge and look at that, comes right out of there. All right, so our hood is done. We're going to move on to the side panels. So let's go ahead and get some tape on here. Again, if you watch my videos, you see that I like to use this tape gratuitously. And I do know that it's going to split this body line. Again, I'm doing this with you for the first time. While Rory has set this up, I have not installed this kit. Look at this old man. Typically you need 4 to 5 pieces per panel. So having extra is great. Not having enough on the door, then having to go back and grab for tape kind of stinks, takes a little bit extra time. And if you notice, we do have that American flag on there already. We're going to go back and change that and do some samples with that a little bit later. Right, and I'm going to go ahead and wipe this down again with that alcohol water mix. And something else we're going to have to do, we're going to have to get rid of that badge. So I'm going to show you here real quick on how to do that. Now this kit is going to come around those handles, again come up just above that door line and stop here at this bottom line here on the door. Our retro panel kit stops there as well. We did try to pull that down lower, and that is a deep enough recession that it will cause some issue. We could probably get around it, but on a do-it-yourself kit it is going to be pretty tough. So we've just left that alone, and let that be our mark for most of our kits. If you want to do something custom, let us know. We can go over it, but don't recommend it. We're going to use a plastic razor, which again, you really can use your fingernail. If you do have a plastic razor, they can get that at a hardware store or online, but again, this has already been off and on a couple times. But even just something to get that started, that's all you want to do. And then hopefully you have clean hands. If not, wash your hands. Less dirt on that adhesive, the better. But we have found that just kind of pulling, again, just like we do with that tape, kind of pulling away from the paint, not just straight up, will give you a clean break. And that's what I want to try to avoid, was as little dirt behind that as possible. We can save this, put it on a piece of backing paper once you've used some of that vinyl. Save that backing paper, put this back on it. If it's got a little, if it's wrinkled or looks like it's warped, heat it a little bit. We are going to need a heat gun throughout this. Save that, and we offer a template that comes from here to this door line, to this line here, that places that right back where we found it. So I'm going to save this for later use. Just make sure there's no adhesive on there. If there is adhesive, your basic Goo Gone will take that off. Even typically the alcohol water mix does great. So this really is a great mixture. I say all purpose for cleaning. Glass is great too. Front fender red. And I'm going to get this all taped up. This should just sit right on this body line. And that's why we're going to check this first. Make sure we got it where we want it. Oops, just shifted that. Okay, we got our rear door. We'll have those cutouts for you. And again, I'm going to line this rear corner up with that fender. For now, we're just taping in place. Now see, these have a little bit of overlap per panel. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of tape these down. What I want to do once this is all taped up is look down the body line of the car. And this is gonna butt right up to that vent. Maybe even go, I'm gonna go over it just a hair. So there's the button up. I want to come over that just a little bit. Again, we can look back at this handle and see where this is exposed around it. So we got a little bit of room. And I can already see we're going to come down on this rear door. All right, I'm happy with that. All right, so we just finished up. All 4 panels getting on there. I did notice my rear door is off. So again, this is why we tape everything up. I like this where it's at. I'm gonna bring this back down to meet that. Make sure these are all lined up. Come back, check, check. And now I'm gonna look right down this edge of the body line and look at all those stripes. Make sure that looks straight. Look at the bottom. And this is the part where you gotta make sure you're happy with it. This is really your call. There's no physical measurements for this. It's all those lineups. The contour of the fender, going around this fender bat or fender vent, the handles, and again, that contour of that fender. And where it falls, it's gonna fall. You just wanna make sure that these lines, there's no dips, they're not going up and down, they all line up, and they are set to go. So we are ready to install. We want to make sure we've got each piece taped. So now that it's just kind of, you know, there, on there, now we can go back and put our hinges on. Hinge, 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 hinge. And let's go ahead and start from the back. We'll start from front, work our way back. So now that we've got this in place, I've got my squeegee. One of our little tricks that I like to use. This is a little trick here. Just kind of breaking that tape, just like that. So now I've got a line up there. I can pull this back. And again, why I like having that extra tape there, I'm just going to tape that out of the way. I've got a line up. I got a line up here. I got a line up here. It's the same thing. I'm going to pull that. And you can use your blade on this. Just be careful not to cut the paint. I'll go ahead and do that. So we're cutting on the masking tape, just barely scoring it. Almost just drag your blade on it and then pop that right off, and there's that line up. So let me see where my scissors are. I got my squeegee. And whatever makes you more comfortable. If you want to have a rolling chair, and again, you really don't want to let this vinyl touch itself. It does happen. It can be pulled off. Just be careful with it. Again, I can't stress how important it is to keep your hands clean. Remember, with this vinyl, you really don't want to let that tack before you place it. And I'm going to go ahead and make that mark. I'm going to tack this, but not. This is still kind of lifted here, and I'm going to run all the way down. And there's that tack. And just start working my way down. Now, again, you got that blister there in the fender. So that's why I wanted to get that big piece down first. And again, you can use that hard edge. I do like that soft edge. And work down. See, I hit that. And same thing. And if I need to pop that up, I can. If you get into a bind, you can even cut this or do it. I wouldn't go individual on all of them, but you know, this, you can pull this back up, but you do want to be careful. And if you have to, we will, or we can, but you know, if you don't have to, don't. And like I said, this being the first time I'm doing this kit, I'm going to make note. I'm going to try to round this corner a little bit so you've got a little bit of extra room there. I know that was a relief cut by Rory. Once we pull this mask off, that'll lay right in there. Now we're going to come to our front, release that hinge. Let's make our marker here. You know, this kit, depending on how you look at it, this is following that body line of the headlights. from the side. I mean, these lines, this body's strange. It's very strange. It's not like the full-size Bronco where everything's straight, everything lines up perfectly. You really have to get this on there and just stand back and look at it and enjoy that it's on there, because you will find, well, why didn't this line up with that? Why doesn't this do this? That's just how this body is. So again, I'm going to hold this up, bring this right down. Don't pull too hard on it. And that will line up very close. Looks like we're right on that one. And you see these overlapping strokes again. You don't have to go crazy hard with it, just moderate. Same thing for the top. I can go right into that hood. And then come back over. And again, why I like that soft edge on there, I can hit that body and it's not going to do any damage. One thing we talked about, we talk about a lot, is ceramic coating. You can ceramic coat over the vinyl, but you do not want to put vinyl over a ceramic coated body. It will not stick. So if you have ceramic coating, take it back to your detailer. We've had luck, a little bit of luck, on just doing a light polish over the areas that we're going to apply to, and that seems to work very well. If you have any questions on that, just call us. And again, pulling away at 180 degrees. Oop, pulled out that stripe. So again, that's why it's on that mask. You can come right back, lay that right back down, and just watch that edge. There we go. With colors, again, this is a color we did on our full size. We're very happy with it, so we keep this across the board on the rest of our kits. If you want something custom, we can do it. Likely there'll be an edit fee of some sort, but let's go ahead and get, now I want to pull this up so I can tuck this in. So just get that edge up a little bit. I mean, if you don't want to, that's a big piece to try and tuck, so I'm actually going to go ahead and cut. And when we cut on here, we're going to take the top edge of that blade and put that against the door, get that going, and really drag that top edge. That side's a little hard to get going. Let's go to this side. There we go. And now I've got enough to open that door, still tuck that edge. I can probably do that with these two, but it looks like since these aren't on that curve, that. Just want to tuck that in. There we go. Edge. Edge. And this is when you want that heat gun. I'm going to go ahead and just get that down a little bit. Yeah, so I'm going to round that edge in our production kit, and that will just tuck right in there. You may need to pull that back a little bit to get that under there. I know this vent comes out. It was a little tough for us to get out, so we just wanted to work around it, make that job a little bit easier. Just make sure those edges are down. And I wish I had that fixed now, but we'll get that. And then the heat for that piece there, you can also just splice that. And we're going to open that door and tuck that after we get this door down. So we're going to come back, release that, come back, measure that, make sure that matches up. I'm going to go ahead and use tape right here just to hold that, so we can go ahead and get this side down. Make sure we're lined up. We're supposed to be lined up. you don't want this to be loose. So you want to make sure, again, make sure all that tape is on there tight. And we are where we want to be. I really don't need a lineup on this because we've got the stripes. But those stripes are going to come up just like we did that last piece. So I'm going to hold that in place, do the same thing that we did. Then we've got this where we want it. Make sure we don't shift. Here's our lineup. And again, this is a big piece. You want to be really careful with this, but we do just want to lightly tack. Make sure we got that where we want it. And I'm going to start. Once that's down, and we know I'm down on that, I'm going to go ahead and lay that all the way down. And again, if we need to come back up, we can. Alright, so that's down. Again, we've got marks on the stripes, so we don't need this anymore. We really don't need that anymore either. I'm going to go ahead and pull this mirror, push that mirror out of the way. And again, with that bow in the door, this is going to be a little tricky with that hinge. So once you get out here, you're really going to go right to pulling that down, pull that mask away. And make sure if you need to pull this back up, you can. Just remember, keep that mask on there. You really want to try to keep, I'm going to try to show you with this. So as we came back, you can come back over if you need to and just get those main areas down, that center, those overlapping strokes. You should be good to go. That lined up perfect. And again, you're going to have a little bit down here at the bottom, and that way if you need to pull this up, you still can. Make sure your hands are clean. Same thing for that top. Worst case is if you do get something in it and you're really having a hard time getting that back up, you can pull one back up, put a piece of masking tape where that line would be, so you have that line up to make sure you still get that even gap all the way throughout. Again, this is not an easy kit. I mean, I would definitely say this is going to be one of our more moderate installs, moderate to difficult. So we're doing we do these videos so you can make that decision for yourself. If you want to install this, or if you want to take this to a professional installer, any wrap installer should be able to do this no problem, but you do want to let them know what material we're using. Let them watch the video. But because this is not your standard wrap material, but it's premium, like I said, premium commercial grade wrap. Same thing we do for full-size trucks and vans. Same thing, want to roll that in. When this is warm, it's a little bit easier, but I just want to get that initial tuck in there. That one will be easy. This one will be easy. It's on plastic. Tuck, tuck. And again, it's grabbing on that vinyl, so I want to make sure to lift that edge. And if you don't want to lift that edge, you can cut it like we did the other side. Now with this back one done, there's a lot of leftover on that, so we're going to go ahead and cut that off. Lay it out, but not on that paint. Open that up, and we can heat that and roll that in. I don't have my heat gun here, but again, this isn't too bad. The more time you take with this, the better it's going to look. So make sure you get those down with no wrinkles. This is the door that you're going to see every time you open it. So you want to try to get those lines straight, even on the inside. And again, we can go back when we're post heat and make sure everything's good. And while this door is open, I'm going to come back up to that front and get these front edges. And again, if you get that nice and soft, you made that little splice in there I showed you earlier, that'll tuck right in. A lot of kits will not go to edge. I think the factory one does just stop right at that edge. It just depends on the kit. There's some kits we have, just like the hood, where we expose that paint on that edge. If you have a preference, let us know, but this is how we designed this kit. That's down there. That one we have to do what's from the inside, but you want to make sure that doesn't get caught on anything. Again, so this inside edge, this is the one that's going to be a little tricky to get to. So like I said, once you get that warm, open that door up and just use your finger to make sure we're tucking that down. You do not want any exposed edges. Now again, this won't get a whole lot of wind since it's on the inside of the vehicle, but you do want to go back and make sure all those edges are tucked. This is the hardest part to get to, but once it's done, it's done. And again, it just takes a little bit of patience to get up in there. So now we're going to go ahead and get those extra pieces off that we cut. That was that excess from that driver door layover on the rear driver's side passenger door. Make sure there's no adhesive left on there. There should be none. And then we're going to go ahead and go right back to watch out for that tunneling. I left that on there for a little while and got a little bit of a mark on there. I thought that'll come out when we lay that down. I'm going to go ahead and just tape that down for now. Where I like to start from right to left, I'm right-handed. So same thing here. I'm going to pull this one up a little further out of the way, or maybe with less, hopefully not much tension on that. And here's my mark. we go. Again, I just want to tack this briefly, so I have that line up, and then get those first pieces down. Try to get past that handle. And then if I need to come back up, I can bring this back up and get me right back down where I want to be. Work our front side. Again, with that curve of this door, you see that vinyl is going to want to kind of wrinkle back. So you really want to hit this right away. Just get that started, and once that's got that break, you're good. But you really don't want this to tack immediately. You want to keep as much air under there as you can. Again, this is coming off that edge, so I know I'm good there. Let's see, make sure I'm still good. Pull just a hair up. If you're off just a little bit, you can kind of direct that vinyl with just a little bit of pull, and kind of push that vinyl in that direction. And I can already see that just a little bit. Give it a little pull. Remember, once that transfer paper's off, you can still work this material. It's just a little, it's going to be really soft, so you have to be extremely careful with it. Once that transfer paper's off, that's what holds it all together. So now that that's on there, I'm going to go ahead and pull this corner up. Again, that's kind of tricky to get that started, but it worked out very well. Make sure those points don't come up as you're pulling back, like that. So there's a spot there that we may have to come back and fix. So if you get something like that, what we're going to do, use that masking tape. And it's right in the middle, so it doesn't matter which way I go. I'm going to mark that tape right where that's at. And then try not to stretch this. Again, it's going to be very soft. So make sure your hands are clean as well. You can probably work this right out, but I don't want to. It looks like a fairly large one. And again, I want to show you how easy this is. Just gotta take your time, be careful. Try not to stretch the vinyl. And there we go. I'm gonna follow that bottom edge. Again, almost no pressure on this vinyl. And just lay that right back where that was. Again, if this looks scary to you, definitely reach out to a professional. We provide a card in with every order that will have a QR code for a 3M certified installer in your area. There we go. All good. So here, same thing. We can pull that. We do have a lot of recess that goes in there. So let's see what that looks like if we leave that, or we can cut it. You know, it's probably going to be easier to cut it. Let's do that. So same thing. You do want a straight cut. Just drag the edge at the top of that blade on the driver door. Once the blade is sharp, it goes a lot better. Make sure your blade is sharp. Now we can pull off that little edge. And now with that nothing on there, really can just tuck that. Boom, boom, boom. That front one we'll use a little bit of heat with because it's on an edge, it's on a curve. And there you go. All right, we got one more panel to do. I still got to cut that hood. So there is a lot of cutting in this one. Again, if this is one of those kits you don't want to mess with, reach out to someone certified, someone that's got some experience. Once we're done with everything, the other side, everything you do, go back with the heat gun. Want to post heat that, make sure all that adhesive is down. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this rear, and then we'll go back and hit that last cut on that front front hood. Alright, again, I've got a line up here. I'm going to move this and just give myself the short side of that. Again, you've got a lot of curve on this, so you got to be real careful. Got a little bit of play in how that lays, but just like that piece there, again, we can pull this back up carefully if we need to relay it. I'm just going to tack it and go ahead and start working that out. I can see there, I'm going to bunch up a little bit. It's nice to have those recessions. And give it a little pressure there. Again, I've got to get that squeegee past all that contour, that shape. Let's get as much down that's flat that we can. Then we can come back up. Again, that importance of making sure your hands are clean. There is a lot of curve back here. That may be a piece of dirt under there. I'll get that in a minute. And we'll have a cut here as well. Again, you want to work that center section out first, because then we can always come back up and pull those edges. All right. Real careful pulling this one back up, right on that corner. Again, real slow, real careful. And there was something in there. You can try to. That's just something in the kit, in the material. Well, I don't know if that's going to come out or not. Let's see. So I'm going to use the edge. There it is. Don't know what the hell that was. Still a little piece in there. Well, that may be as good for now, so we're going to get that. Something like that happens, again, if that's in the vinyl, that's a IPC. We'll take care of that on our end. Let's go ahead and head back to this edge. Same thing. Take off that excess. Always check that front edge on that door that you're about to pull open. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And you hear, oops, forgot to take the decals off of that side. All right, now we got this 3 more cuts. The gas cap, this rear bumper, and the hood. So we're gonna go ahead and just try to get a good line on that. And again, this is just patient hands. Taking your time. You do want to use the soft edge of this. If you use the hard edge, you may cut the vinyl. And same thing, whatever edge you want to go on. I like the inside of that gas cap. And I'm also right-handed, so it's a little tricky. Come in and meet that edge. Some of that is a little freehand, so be careful. I need to come out this way. Get on my other side. Gotta get those little. You can bring this back up a little bit so you don't get those little wrinkles. That knife was not as sharp as I would have wished. Just roll those edges in. pick that up a little bit and then pick up that edge right in the inside. But again, this is pretty resilient vinyl, so if we need to fix it, we likely can. There's a little, there we go. A little bit of a wrinkle on there, just came out. That was that edge that was coming up. Edge right on the outside of that one too. There we go. All right, now we have this last one here on the rear section. Again, I don't want to use that plastic squeegee because it can tear the vinyl. But you do want to make sure you've got a line to follow. So get that in that crease as good as you can. I'm going to go ahead and get myself a fresh blade on this. And again, you want to drag just, if it's a fresh blade, you're literally just dragging right lightly in that valley. And once that's cut, go back with a little heat, a soft edge of that squeegee. And again, now that it's cut, you have that hard edge. You can see that's it. Alright, so our last piece is going to be that splice along that hood. We could have done that at the very beginning when we finished up that fender. We just missed it and kept going along to the back. But again, you do want a sharp blade on this. We're going to drag the top of that blade along the inside of that hood, of the bill of that hood. That way we get a nice even cut. Go nice and slow. Don't stop. Try not to stop. I want to go back in with that squeegee just to get as much, not too hard, but just enough to make sure we got a bond on that. And then we're going to go back, and all you need is just a little bit out on that. And again, I'm going to start there, grab the top of that with that edge of that blade. And there's that stop, so be careful. You really don't want to stop. You get those little jagged marks when you stop. And smooth and even. Oh, there's another stop again. Alright, now we can go back with that heat gun. And then come back. So again, you can see here why that's so important to keep that line straight, because you will see that edge, but you definitely want to have a good tuck in there. Okay, that's just the body. Alright, folks, I think that is it for the Freedom Kit. We're going to pause and get some pictures, get some video. As you can see, this looks fantastic. We are going to go ahead and do the front fender in the optional colors, and then we'll move on to some other kits for the day. But now that you've seen that, very curious to know what your thoughts are on that. Even for myself that's been doing this for a long time, that's a kit that I wouldn't want to be doing every day. It is tedious. That measurements are very important, but it's well worth it. Anyway, questions, comments, let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe. And yeah, see you next time. Thank you.